I'm going to turn now to Rami Mortada, the Lebanese ambassador to the UK, to get his reaction to these extraordinary events that have been taking place in his home country throughout the week. Mr. Mortada, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much indeed for being on the show. Can I ask you, first of all, what your impression is of, as it were, ordinary Lebanese citizens as they witness what's happened to Hezbollah? Because Hezbollah is not Lebanon, and Lebanon is not Hezbollah.
Indeed. What Lebanon witnessed on Tuesday and Wednesday is a major war crime mounted by Israel, according to the United Nations, where the UN Commissioner for Human Rights said that the simultaneous and indiscriminate detonation of booby traps targeting thousands of individuals, and it doesn't matter whether they're part of an armed group or just ordinary civilians, because the attackers did not have prior knowledge on who was using these booby traps and what was in the vicinity and surrounding of these devices. So this is simultaneous and indiscriminate violations to international humanitarian law. And that's a pattern of behavior that Israel has been practicing against Lebanon. And we've seen it in Gaza also for the last year and even before. So it's a major escalation. And I think although Lebanon is the victim, but I think behind Lebanon there is another victim of this attack, which is the American-led efforts on a ceasefire in Gaza. It's clear that the Israelis are trying to sabotage the American efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. Because when you have a Secretary of State in the region and when you have a presidential envoy, American presidential envoy in Israel, and yet you launch such an operation, it's clear that you're trying to thwart and sabotage their efforts.
So if the Israelis are doing this to sabotage the peace process, in your view, and to escalate the war, what do you believe is going to happen next?
Well, I hope that we'll be able to avoid a war in Lebanon. We don't want an all-out war. We've been saying it for a year now. And whatever the Israelis are saying, their objective is to bring their civilians back to northern Israel. There is no way they can bring them back by force. Only through diplomacy, only through indirect negotiations by American and UN facilitation will this civilian population be able to go back. We also have a civilian population that needs to go back. So it can happen in an equal way, and all the elements in Resolution 1701 that still are pending could be addressed, and we have this in the horizon. There were already some talks through American facilitation aiming at agreeing on what we refer to as a de-escalation package, mainly having to do with the implementation of Resolution 1701. Again, the Israelis are trying to sabotage this process through this operation and other behavior.
And Ambassador, this afternoon, the British Foreign Secretary David Lammy has said that British nationals in Lebanon should leave, should get out. You talk, I'm sure, to colleagues in Beirut all the time. How concerned are people for their safety at the moment?
Clearly, there is a risk of escalation, but frankly, it's all up to Israel. If they want to continue with this pattern of escalatory behavior, then not only Lebanon, but the whole region could be dragged towards a de-escalatory, an escalatory path. So it's up to the Israelis.
Yeah. It's a very, very dangerous day, a very dangerous moment, Ambassador. Thank you so much for talking to LBC.